All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today. I'm thrilled to have you with us for this session, and I'm especially excited today because we have the pleasure of having a Bidgely partner of almost 6 years joining us on this webinar today. My name is Michaela Davis. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager here at Bidgely, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Before we dive into our content, I'd like to cover a few housekeeping items. So first, go ahead and advance the slide, Jason. And then first, we encourage you to ask questions. So please use the Q&A feature for any questions you may have. We'll address them at the end of the webinar, but feel free to submit them as they come to mind. You can also use the chat feature to share comments and engage with your peers throughout the webinar. And then after the webinar, you'll be shown a post-webinar survey. We'd greatly appreciate it if you could just take a few minutes to provide your feedback. The survey will also include an option to subscribe to all future webinars. So if you're interested in topics like AI, grid planning, EV detection, managed charging, energy efficiency, and a whole lot more, be sure to opt in to receive updates on that. And then finally, a quick reminder that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared out with all registered participants. All right, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm very excited to introduce you to our speakers for today, Hannah Courtney and Dr. Liza Legospi. So starting with Dr. Liza, she is an energy management supervisor at SoCalGas. Her expertise includes strategic planning and implementing behavioral change programs, direct response marketing, advertising campaigns, and developing innovative approaches to drive intended goals while applying continuous improvement processes to create competitive advantages, develop and maintain strong customer awareness. Prior to her current role, Dr. Legospi was a program manager, communications lead, and senior communications advisor at SoCalGas. Before joining SoCalGas, she was an account director at ES Advertising, account supervisor at Intertrend Communications, and marketing manager at Advanced Telecom Solutions. Dr. Legospi has a bachelor's in accounting from Polytechnic University of the Philippines, as well as a master's of business administration and doctor of education from Brandman University. He is currently also an adjunct professor at Brandman University. And our next speaker for today, we have Hannah Courtney. As the Director of Customer Success at Bidgely, Hannah ensures that Bidgely's partnerships with their utility customers in the North America flourish. Hannah also oversees all behavioral energy efficiency and demand response projects in all stages of a project's life cycle. Before her 3.5 years at Bidgely, Hannah previously spent 9 years at ICF, where as a program manager, she designed and delivered innovative programs, proposals, and presentations to communicate client focus and data-driven recommendations. So with that, I will hand it over to you, Hannah.
Sure. Can everybody hear me? Hopefully loud and clear.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Michaela. So actually, we're going to start with the sort of understanding the context of the SoCalGas residential program. And I'm actually going to hand the mic over to Liza, who will talk you through sort of what our history has looked like and how the program has transformed over time.
Thanks, Hannah. I hope you can hear me well.
Yeah.
And
we can also hear you. Yeah.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining. And I would like to take this opportunity as well to thank Bidgely for inviting me to participate in this event. We have a long history. We've been working together since 2019 when we first worked with Bidgely, and we continue to work with them today. And the reason behind that is because we've been successful. Bidgely, the partnership has been great, and we continue to deliver savings that we committed to, great service to our customers. So as you can see on your screen, we launched in 2019 with a small group of customers, residential customers. And the focus at that time and the thinking is like, okay, we've been reaching high usage customers, but maybe we can scoop up more savings if we expand our reach and offer the program to those customers that are in the medium usage. But we also have to consider cost. So at that time, we considered only a digital only, which is an email alerts type of reports sending to our residential customers. That continues up to this day. We've expanded, and I think we're reaching over 600,000 customers as of today, right? And we will continue to expand. At least that is our plan, since we are committed to our customers. They're our priority as always, and we're just going to continue to save energy. I'll give it to Hannah.
Great, thanks so much, Steve. Yeah. So Jason, if you want to go ahead and advance the next slide. And sorry, everybody, for the slide Olympics today. My Wi-Fi is unfortunately unreliable. So I appreciate everybody's patience there. So when you think about that timeline and some of the goals that Lisa was mentioning, we so, what has the program actually achieved? So, it was really important to be able to touch those medium consumption customers in a cost-effective way. And so, through the pilot in 2019 and expansions in 2021 and 2023, to this treatment count of between 550 and 600,000 customers, like what does that look like, and what strategies were we actually implementing? So one of those that's I think a really important tenet around any behavioral program that visually implements is a positive and personalized experience, especially when it comes from a similar home comparison, and making sure that customers not only understand that they're using more or less than a similar home, but they also understand that at an appliance level, because it really sort of drives home, this is exactly what in your home you're able to change. And then we also focus the program, it's a digital first, digital is really actually digital only HERS program. And what we have continued to be excited to see is that the program, any behavioral program is expected to save more from the first year, in the first 12 months of treatment compared to the 12 to 24 months of treatment. But we continue to see that expand over time with this program, with the same user set continuing to save more. And that their digital engagement also has stood the test of time with, around a 60% open rate for over 33 million emails sent to date. So, when you have this customer set that continues to find your information valuable, and over time, they continue to respond in a positive way, that's something that is really important to us. A home energy report is a digital engagement behavioral energy efficiency solution to the question up on the screen. So sorry for the abbreviation there. And overall, it's the mechanism that we use for customers to save energy in this program. And so, on average, customers are saving, the median savings from start to date is about 1.07% savings per customer. And overall, that's added up to about 7.5 million therms over the years that we've worked with SoCalGas. And that I was interested to see what the conversion was on that earlier. I always really like to see of what does this equal in cars or miles driven? And what I really appreciated was it was the equivalent of about 44 million pounds of coal that would, essentially diverted from the energy ecosystem. So this program has achieved a lot in the years that we have worked together. And I think it's a really important use case to understand how behavioral programs can continue to mature over time. And so, one of my questions actually for Lisa is that, this program also is a part of the overall SoCalGas portfolio of energy efficiency programs. And so when, Lisa, can you talk to us about sort of the importance of a mature program like this and the importance of it continuing to perform over time? And, the second part of that question is, how does this fit into California's transformation from sort of overall energy saved to total system benefit, and how the role of this program will evolve over time?
So I'll split the answer to those two questions.
Mhm.
Let's start
Yes,
with the first one.
yes, please do.
Okay. Behavioral programs were designed to not just create awareness of energy savings, but also to engage customers on the various types of energy efficiency opportunities. So that's number one. Having a matured program enables us to maintain not just a good relationship with our customers, but also allows us to inform them of new energy efficiency offerings, such as natural gas appliance rebates, financing. We're developing other programs as we're speaking right now, ways to save, and much, much more. So your second question is about the new CPUC decision, which I believe came out in 2021. Uh, the decision is to reform its approach to energy efficiency programs. That decision repositions energy efficiency program goals wherein the focus is on maximizing long duration of GHG reduction and grid benefits, transitioning away from setting goals based purely on term savings. The new total system benefit, or TSB, is an expression in dollar value of the life cycle energy, capacity, and GHG benefits. The new metric used encourages programs to target high value load reduction and longer duration energy savings while being fuel agnostic. The behavioral program continues to be a great channel to educate consumers, our customers, on how to save energy, but also learn about our energy efficiency programs and various energy efficient natural gas appliances, which have a longer duration energy savings. So while it is an important program, it also became a channel for other energy efficiency program to work together and even achieve a larger savings.
Thanks, Lisa. And sort of, yeah, and to the way that I think about that is that, one, just I guess to kind of summarize that is that this program is a really great on ramp, and it's that we're in so many email inboxes, and so it's a natural extension to be able to recommend another program to a customer, especially when you know that they have a gas water heater and it's not performing as well, so you can refer them to a program that has a better system benefit. One, that's really important, and two, I think that I was thinking about this as you were talking. It becomes also even more important for the customers that you have to maintain their savings over time, right? Because if your useful life on a behavioral nudge is, you have to keep serving people with these emails for you to be able to continue to show savings on the program, or TSB, total system benefit. And so having a program that can maintain those savings over time becomes even more important for sort of this program to be able to continue to achieve your goals. So that's something that popped into my brain. So, and when you think about being able to sort of that journey that you talked about, I want to actually review that with this group here that's joined us today. So, Jason, if you can go to the next slide, please. I tried to control your screen, Jason, but it didn't work. So what does that journey look like from an email perspective? So these are our little snippets, emails of what that looks like. And there's a calendar here, because really what this means is that it goes all throughout the year. And, customers are receiving 2 monthly touch points. One is a monthly summary and one is a monthly similar home comparison. And their focus is a little bit different. The first one is around sort of, here's your itemized usage, and Abhay Gupta, our CEO, sort of thinks about it as here's your credit card statement of you spent this much on this category, this much on this category, this much on this category. So you can understand sort of be nuanced in what you're using in your home. And then the similar home comparison takes that to the next level of, all right, well, what is that itemization compared to similar homes, and where are there opportunities for you to save? So it's much more of a positive light, and that's something that goes out monthly to the SoCalGas customer set. There are also 2 other treatments, which, for a behavioral program, a home energy report program, typically you're going to have 1 to 2 emails per month, but sometimes, the programs that have more have richer digital engagement, you can extend that to more touch points. And so a couple of others that are here and present on this program is a triggered alert email that goes to customers when their usage is detected as higher than is expected based on that customer's actual usage patterns. And so that email goes out and is designed to not be a scary email, but to be an email that says your usage, or it actually says like, here are a couple of ways to save. And so it is a time-bound email that customers might get. And then there's also a scheduled seasonal email that's ahead of the peak season to remind customers the peak season is coming up. And here are some ways that you can prepare for the oncoming cooler weather in the case of the SoCalGas program. And so I've got another question for you, Lisa. So when you think about digital engagement, something that we see a lot of utilities being very sensitive to is, and absolutely this is the case with SoCalGas as well, is that what are the messages that are going out to my customers? And we always want to balance sort of savings, but never compromising that customer journey. So how do you balance adding more emails to that customer journey, and like what do you think what is that balance like from a utility perspective of the touch points versus the savings or the total system benefit?
Oh, thanks, Hannah. Well, you kind of mentioned it already. It's about customers, right? We prioritize our customers and their needs. We have to consider how we can provide the best service to them. That's always been number one. That's always been our true north, in other words. That being said, the formula is simple. Provide them, our customers, the necessary information with consideration to not just their usage behavior, but also the season as you have it on the screen. In this case, weather plays a huge part in relation to how we can help them reduce usage. Furthermore, we have new offerings or programs that always comes out, right? And that's why we create all those different modules to message to our customers what's new, what are we offering. Like if we have a financing offering, we use that and give that information quickly as possible to our customers. The program allows that. It's a channel, right? But it's not just a channel because it looks at several different angles of that channel. It looks at the behavior, it looks at the season, it looks at historical data. What have they done? Well, we're scratching the surface. We haven't even talked about disaggregated usage. Those two plays a part in terms of how frequent we should message someone. Let's say it's about natural gas water heater, a storage water heater, right? With the use of disaggregation, you can probably see, right, based on estimate, these are all estimation. But if you look at historical, let's say past 12 months, if you're seeing a certain usage, you can kind of see the relationship. Oh, their natural gas water heater, that storage water heater is not as efficient as it used to be, right? In month number 1, it's changing. Or maybe the time of use, right? Maybe they're using, let's say they're cooking at a certain time, and you see through time that usage is changing. So it's all based on data that's available to us, that knowledge that's available to us, and that's how we plan and balance that communication. So it's not a secret, right? This is not a secret. It's about really
secrets out, right?
It's doing that being diligent and trying to really dig down deep and understand, read the information, analyze that information, and something nice and great is going to come out.
Yeah, I love that thought. And, when you think about, Jason, you go to the next one, is that part of that is capturing what customers think as a source of truth, right? And so disaggregation and AI also we also talk about sources of truth for that too, and sort of understanding what is the ground reality for customers. And I think that, Lisa and I had the opportunity to meet in person yesterday, and we talked about how do you really understand what customers think and you have to, there's their behavior, their response, right? But you also have to ask them. And that's something that's really important as a part of sort of the core values of this program and the work that we do with SoCalGas and all of our customers, is that we capture that customer feedback, and then we look at what are the trends in that, and what do they have to say. So, overall, for this program, it helps us also sort of adjust that pathway to fuel that innovation. So, understanding customers really want to know their appliance usage trends over time. And this is the feedback aggregated for, from the 2019 to 2024 of like, understanding what customers think. And then the second part of that, other than the appliance usage trends, right? And so that's about what Lisa was saying. Is my water heater, not working as efficiently as it could be, or am I changing the behavior of which I use that, or it also, like, what's the next step on that journey? I understand, and then it's paired with the savings tips as well. So I think that's also not a secret to a behavioral program, but I think that sort of thinking about how do you take that and think about what's that next step on the journey. We'll talk a little bit more about here in a second. The other thing that I want to highlight here is that the program like rates. So this is something that we track on a thumbs up, thumbs down. What's the rate at which customers provide that thumbs up or thumbs down? And it's risen from 78% in 2021 up to 83% in the 2023 program year to date. And that includes an important thought on that is that that also includes Lisa's peak season. So even with customers' bills being higher in the wintertime, they're still like, this will go higher this year because people are generally happier when their bills are lower. So it's at an 83% this year compared to where the program has started. And, that has really remained sort of evergreen and is a part of the story of this program. And so, Lisa, what are your thoughts around sort of the increase in customer satisfaction over time in this program?
Well, thanks, Hannah. As you can see, we have a high customer favorability, and that's great. And this continues up to this day. I believe the reason they stay in the program and they like the program and they say it is because they see the benefits as well. They don't just see it, but they experience it. It provides them information on what they can do to help them save. One thing I want to caveat though is because we're listening, right? It's not just pushing the information to the customer, right? It's about listening. And when I say listening, they're not calling. We're not talking all the time, but we are communicating. The communication is in different aspects, different ways. One of which is what you're seeing right now on your screen. The other way, some might call. The other way that they're communicating is their behavior. When they're saving, we're able to see that. And when they're not saving, we're able to see that also. Right? The messaging as well, the links that they click to, where do they go? That's all about listening. So it's a push and pull type of strategy, as we would call in marketing. We're pushing the information, but we're taking back the information as well to make things better. So I think that is again, it's not a secret. It's about really keenly like listening. It's an intentional act. There's an intent to understand, to listen, and to learn and improve.
Okay. Yeah, I really like that sort of the thought around the intent. It's an intentional listening. That's a really great way to think about it. And I also sort of, I liked that you said that like the part of that listening is seeing how they're saving, right? So that actually leads us into the next slide, because that is one of the mechanisms that we can use to listen. Over time, this program, customers have told us that in a different way, is that that this information is still meaningful for them. So the chart I have up on the screen here shows, the program and how it has responded over time. So 2021, it doesn't have the pilot information. This has the overall, larger program performance. So in 2021, when this group is younger, they haven't fully ramped, they're still saving quite well for a digital only program. And then you see actually in 2022 with the red line is that the savings continues to increase over time, especially if you see in some of the non-peak seasons. And then the yellow line is in 2023, and overall on average, averages, medians, the peak savings are at 1.28% in 2022 and, up to 1.47% in the peak season of 2023, which includes this year to date. We are currently in the 23-24 program year. And so that's a really important indicator and a way to listen to the health of the overall program is like, are these customers continuing to save over time? What does that look like? And how can we continue to, help them and drive them forward? And so when we're thinking about that, and when we take that sort of listening and think about, how are customer personas changing over time? And, there's also this increased awareness around there's a set of customers who want to understand what their impact is other than on their wallet with their energy bill. They want to be engaged with their utility about, providing a better energy future and, increasing grid resiliency and all of those things. And so how do you include and become adaptable to customers being more aware of their impacts on the environment? And so Lisa and I have, talked a lot about the future of HERS programs. And so Lisa, before we go to the next slide, I want you to talk a little bit from your perspective of what you see that evolution looking like and what are some important elements. I sort of led into them and talked to them about it a little bit, but please, take the mic from me and talk to them about them some more.
Okay, thanks, Anna. I mean, I wish I had a crystal ball, but I don't. So from my eyes of what I've seen, the utility environment is changing and the consumer market is evolving. That's a fact. And that continues to happen year over year through time. We, utility, should evolve as well with these changes and address our ever-changing customer needs. We need to look closer on how we can do things better, explore new technologies, test new ideas, and learn from what we have done in the past and improve what we can do in the future. In the end, in the center of everything we do are our customers. We must not lose sight of this and always prioritize these needs. Really, it's all about our customers. They are telling us what to do. So when I say I don't have a crystal ball, because I have to listen constantly what they're saying. And they are speaking, they are expressing what they need, what they want to hear. Technology is also all around us. It's about making things easier, quicker, faster, right? Evolving. Everything's fast right now. The news today is like, in a second, like that's not news anymore. Need to be quick in reacting. I think that's what I want to say. The reaction time should be quicker, faster, and address the needs as quickly as possible.
So when you think about being at a utility, how do you sort of manage that internally at SoCalGas to be ready to prepare and be agile for those future adaptations? What are some important things that you work on with your teams to be able to do that?
Well, it's a big organization and we have different departments, but the root of everything, the most important is always about collaborating and innovating together. Keyword is together. We must always be aligned all the time and work together, march towards the same end. So it's not one program over the other program. It's about how can we help each other to get to that common goal.
Absolutely. And there's that whole concept of like the rising tide, right, of all of the programs together. So, I think a behavioral program it's not in a vacuum, right? And using it to be able to sort of continue customers along that journey is really important, and making sure that journey is right for that customer too, which is what we talked about. So I want to share a couple of things of like what would that look like in the future, of like how does this program continue to adapt over time, and some of the the feedback that we've been hearing from the SoCalGas team and some of our other utility partners, as well as that customers are really much more aware of their carbon usage, and they want us to speak to them about their carbon usage. And so what I have up on the screen is what that might look like on Bidgley's roadmap. These are illustrative images, but I think helping customers understand with like how many pounds of usage that are being used, especially like compared to an efficient home. So it takes that similar home comparison and puts a spin on it, and potentially can help impact customers in a new way and speak to them in a different language that they are sort of evolving towards. And then another one to think about and consider is how we're doing the similar home comparison. It has a little bit on here, but if you go to the next slide, Jason, is could we be focusing a similar home comparison not around how much you spend, not about how much you use of like therms on your bill, but really like what are your emissions? And so, pounds of CO2, people understand emissions in a different way. Is it pounds of CO2? Is it emissions? And so adapting those language and using those mechanisms, because the similar home comparison at its core is such an important part of a behavioral program. But like, how do we evolve it? How do we listen over time? And just like, when you buy your car and you understand how, what the miles per gallon are, what the emissions of that might be, the same sort of thing with a similar home, of understanding the emissions output of your home. It's not just your car that's using that. So we want there to be meaningful comparisons for customers, and being able to sort of serve that similar home comparison in different ways to different customers as well, of like, what could this look like? So Jason, if you want to go to the next one. Overall, I would say that, all of the things that Lisa and I have been talking about are like, how do we, continue to get better data? And that includes the ground truth from the customer of like a program that is evergreen, right? It's that tree that doesn't lose its leaves, is one that has that better data and has that core truth for customers by listening to them, and then continuing to develop better touch points over time, and then extending into that better relationship with customers. And that really has been sort of the core theme of this program, and one that I know that Lisa and I both value a lot, and are always excited to share and talk about. But it also extends into it can extend into the SoCalGas's mission itself, which I want to hand, again, the mic over to Lisa a little bit, and we'll also show you a video here. And I think we can show the video first that talks a little bit about what SoCalGas's mission is, and then I'll ask Lisa to talk about how this program fits into that concept, as well as the one that we have here.
A transformation is here. Centuries in the making, that will advance the lives of millions of people. Welcome to the evolution of energy. California has set the goal to become carbon neutral by 2045. However, energy demand is estimated to double over the next 24 years, with the state's population growing to over 50 million residents. How do we solve this massive challenge? The solution is a combined blend of innovative technologies around new forms of renewable gases, solar, wind, fuel cells, and carbon capture. At SoCalGas, our mission is to build the cleanest, safest, and most innovative energy infrastructure company in America. And we are committed to achieving net zero carbon emissions by 2045. The reality is, some of the technologies that will get us there haven't even been invented. But there are 4 innovative technologies that have us well on our way. Renewable gas, where waste streams are harnessed and reused to make power, becoming emissions negative. Power to gas, where excess renewable electricity is used to create renewable gas and hydrogen, which can be stored, transported, and utilized for decades. Hydrogen fuel cells, where people can reliably power their homes, businesses, and transportation with net zero emissions. And carbon capture, utilization, and sequestration, where carbon can be captured and utilized in new production processes for products of the future. After all, decarbonization isn't new for us. We've already reduced distribution emission rates to 0.25%, while continuing to serve our 22 million customers without sacrificing reliability, resiliency, or affordability. When California wanted to reduce pipeline emissions 20% by 2025, SoCalGas met the goal by 2021. In 2010, renewable gas wasn't even in use. By 2022, we will reach 5% capacity throughout our infrastructure, and 20% by 2030. On the journey to net zero, our mission is more than words. It's our ethos that guides every aspect of our business. What does clean look like? Clean is decarbonizing the gas grid. Clean is turning waste into energy. Clean is utilizing excess renewable energy. What does safe look like? Safe is the diversity of clean energy sources. Safe is industry-leading protocols. Safe is the diversity of thought and culture. What does innovation look like? Innovation is evolving into a tech-first infrastructure company. Innovation is expanding the potential of renewable energy. Innovation is leading the evolution of energy. Our commitment is to make the air we breathe and the neighborhoods we share cleaner, safer, and more innovative. Because our evolution is our legacy.
Thanks, Jason. So Lisa, talk, like, how does a behavioral program fit into this and these concepts?
Thanks, Hannah, and thanks for sharing the video. Well, the behavioral program has always been a one-of-a-kind type of a program, always have been. It uses historical data to predict the future. It also utilizes behavior change strategies to not just create awareness, but also motivate customers to save energy. We are constantly researching and learning from all of these. Here at SoCalGas, as mentioned in the video, our mission is simple, is to be the cleanest, safest, and most innovative energy infrastructure in America. The behavior program is at the forefront of this. We have and continue to improve our approach, our messaging, our channel to reach our customers. We explore new ideas. We were talking about this yesterday. Have more test and learn, create new test and learn methodologies, learn from our customers, listen what the customers are saying. They're talking about doing some telephone surveys, learn from historical information, like how they reacted from our prior communication. We continue to create awareness related to safety and reduction carbon footprint. So the idea or the concept, we've always supported our mission. We're at the forefront. We've done this for a long time.
I forgot my phone was talking. I had to find my mute button. So thanks, Lisa. And, you know, I think overall, you know, behavioral programs, I think are still a part of that solution and still a part of that mission, right? Even though they've been around for, you know, a long time. And when you think about a digital program, there is no cost of paper, right? There's, you know, sure, paper does have, you know, traditionally, you know, more savings per customer. But if you think about all of that in sort of like, if you think about the carbon impact of producing that paper and sending it out, like email is so clean, right? So I think that that's also something to think about as well, as an additional little element there. So thanks Lisa.
I will also add,
and I guess yeah, any final questions, or thoughts?
all those energy savings that you showed in your first slide, right? Or second slide, was it?
Yeah.
That has an impact in the reduction, right, of the carbon footprint. So every time a customer makes some saving, no matter how small that is, right, it's helping the environment, it's helping the community, it's helping us. And I mentioned it earlier too. Our focus and always have been are our customers. That mission revolve around our customers. It was developed with the customers in mind, and that will never change.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Thank you, Lisa. With that, I will turn it over to the audience. Are there questions that we can answer? We're here. We're happy to answer questions.
Yes, final opportunity to chat in your questions now. I know Hannah and Dr. Lisa covered a lot of ground here, but if you have any last minute questions, write them in the chat. I know we have one question for Hannah and Dr. Lisa. So the question is, can you talk a bit more about what you're hearing from customers about the engagement?
As far as, so, we look at both positive and the likes and dislikes, right? There's always two sides to the coin. And I think that, often it's easy to sort of focus on what people don't like. That's why I always like sort of, to focus on, you have to focus on both. So I think the other side of the coin there is that, the trends where we see, there will always be people who are concerned about, the information they're receiving is clearly like based on their data. And so there will always be people who have those types of concerns, but I think that it was 0.2% of people who overall have, when we think about the like dislike, it's only 0.2% of the population, the overall have an opinion where they say that they don't appreciate for one reason or the other. And part of that too, I think, is an opportunity for coaching of customers, because when they think about sort of what they're seeing, if they feel like it needs truing up, that's where we need to come in with that source of truth. And maybe there is something, in their home where they are, they've replaced their water heater from gas and they've switched to electric for some reason. We would want to be able to true that up. And we also sort of offer a home profile survey where the customers, and maybe they even call into the call center. And SoCalGas actually has what we call our CSR console, where the CSRs can look and see, when a customer calls in, they can pull up those emails, they can understand sort of what the customer is seeing, and they can provide that ground truth to the AI algorithm to enrich that experience with customers. So it's all about that listening. Like, we will listen if they have, thumbs up or thumbs down. And so, and those customers have access to that survey at the, touch of their fingers as well, and the home profile survey, as well as the thumbs up, thumbs down. So it's all about the listening. That's a little bit more about the feedback. Hopefully that's what you had in mind. And the overall around the percentage, provide incentives to customers for gas savings. So behavioral programs are designed to, and this one especially does not provide any monetary incentive back to a customer other than the savings that they would see for a behavioral change. And that's one of the really great parts of this tool set, is that it's cost effective from a utility standpoint, because you don't have to pay a $50 rebate for a thermostat or a $200 rebate for a tankless water heater, but you can refer those customers to a program where they could get rebate for that. So that should be the answer to your question. Any other questions? Or yeah. Lisa, I was gonna say, sorry, Lisa, I just jumped right in. Go ahead.
I want to add a couple of things, because the question was like, how are you listening? What are you hearing? 2 examples that I can think of right now. One is a customer, and this is a real story. I'm not gonna obviously gonna talk about who the customer is. A customer were receiving their report, right? Their alert. The alert was in the past, their usage was low, and all of a sudden it spiked. It went up high. So I was like, what is wrong? The customer doesn't know. This customer came to a realization because the messaging was about their storage water heater. Apparently, they replaced it, but they forgot to make some adjustment and all those things. And that was spiking it. So they actually called and thanked us, right, for sending the report. That was one.
That's so awesome, Lisa. I haven't heard that story. That's exciting. Sorry, go ahead.
The other story was about someone have called us. This was a while back, and was complaining about how come my usage was high in your report compared to my efficient neighbor. And he doesn't know. There was particular dates actually on the graph that showed it. What we did was we dug into their data, right? And that's why data is important. What we saw, we told Mr. Customer, you were using your pool because it was their pool pump that was working overtime. This was based obviously on estimates. And in that time frame, it was spiking. And you can see up and down, it was like totally high. And like 2 in the morning, it was still going. What was happening? And the customer said he was on vacation during that week. Guess what? He finally said, oh, my son had a party. So that's
busted.
So
yeah,
like
that's a good one.
A fraternity party or something in their house.
Who knew that your utility could also let you know when your children are having parties?
I thought there were two, examples that I can say that we listened, we heard, customers are interested in their data. Well, sometimes you might get an email or a call that's saying, hey, why is my usage so high? It's not really a complaint or not favorable. They're actually asking why. They want the information. So when we gave them the information, they were very thankful. Right. And the question on incentive. Years ago, when we first fielded this program, we actually offered an incentive, and I believe it was a gift card. I'm not going to mention the brand, but it was a gift card. And it was like, to sign up and receive this report, we're giving you this gift card. The sign up rate was high. Okay. The redemption of the gift card was high. The sad part, there was no savings. Because after the gift card was received, they didn't save anymore. They actually opted out receiving the reports. So I'll be careful about incentives because it can work against you or for you, depending on how you use it. So that's an actual
great point. Yeah. It's a double-edged sword, those incentives, for sure. Cool. Any other thoughts from Lisa, or any other questions for the panel here?
Are you recording this, or will you distribute?
Yes, we will. Yeah, it looks like there are no more questions. So if any others come to mind, always feel free to reach out to us. But otherwise, thank you so much, Dr. Lisa and Hannah, for sharing your insights on this program and our partnership. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Reminder that there will be a short webinar survey that pops up on your screen after you close out. Please just take 1 minute to fill that out. But again, thank you for joining, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Lisa.